Am I cutting my head off? If I stand back.
The very tip of your head. No, that's good. That's perfect.
Okay, so I'll be back here until I start doing things and I'll move forward.
Okay, perfect. And we're live, so we can just chit chat for a few minutes while people log on, because it does take a minute for everybody to sink in. But do you have something new and exciting going on that you're working on?
Yes. Oh, and I forgot. I'm always working on several things at once. It seems like I get started into one thing and then I think about another one.
I think most of our creative minds work that way.
And the table runner, what happened to it? I've got a new table runner. I'm actually working with a friend's pattern, but she works with the little tiny pieces. And I don't do little tiny pieces real well. I like to work with strips.
Right.
So you'll get the same look, but it's a different technique. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to turn you over to you and run in the other room just a quick second. How's that?
Okay. All right, so I am Beth from Fabric Chicks. I am doing I'm hostessing the meet and greets for Quilt Show Reno. Every Monday at 3:00, we're going to be interviewing different teachers and vendors and people that are going to be here at Quilt Show Reno. Make sure you tune in next week. We do have Rona the Ribbeter, and also I don't have the name because literally we're just getting back from QuiltCon, but I have the gal who does the quilt appraisal. So you can schedule with her to get quilts appraised at the Quilt Show Reno if you want to. But it's kind of a fun and exciting opportunity to be able to learn from the teachers and educators what all is going to be offered at Quilt Show Reno. You can sign up for classes now. The link is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. The classes will start June 3rd and the show goes through June 7th. So there's a lot of different things we're doing. We've got a great fashion show. I'm super excited about the fashion show on Friday night. So make sure you look into that. The tickets just went online for sale. And then of course, I'm hosting Quilto again this year. It was such a success. I don't tell them, but I think they're going to have to do it maybe 2 nights next year because I think it's already almost full. So make sure if you're going to do it, you get signed up quickly. And let me see if Linda is back. Linda, when you're back, let me know. So Linda just went. I asked her a spontaneous question while we were waiting for you guys to log on. I asked her a spontaneous question about what she's working on right now. So I see her. She's back. Okay, hang on. So she is going to show us. This has nothing to do with what she's teaching in Reno, although she might incorporate it because, anytime we learn new techniques, we love to incorporate them and pass it on to our followers. So hang on a second. I'm going to add Linda back. So this is Linda McGehee, and she's from Louisiana. She has, you know me, I am an old soul. So I love the teachers that have been around as long as I've been around. I sometimes, and I just got back from QuiltCon, I sometimes have a hard time relating to the younger generation, which I hate to say that because I feel like that makes me like not young anymore. But
I don't like the way this conversation's going, Beth.
I know, it's kind of a crazy time. Okay, so Linda, what are you working on right now?
Well, I'm working on several things, but I've been asked to do a table runner, and I took a look at one of my local friends' quilt store and some of her patterns, and the instructions were like, why do you want to cut all these little tiny pieces out? Why not work in strips? So I'm a stripper, as I've discovered, work with long strips. And the table runner that we're going to be doing, I do use long strips to create the blocks. This isn't in the colorway that I normally work with, but you'll see right here is it's a variation sort of the rail fence. There's another one right there. And the way it goes together, we're going to make a table runner about this long. And I had enough left over to make a pillow block. But rather than having to cut so many 5-inch by 1 inch or whatever it happens to be strips, I'm working with the 45-inch piece, and it really goes together cool. It's kind of goes along with my background from learning some classes with Mary Ellen Hopkins back a few years ago. I was hoping to get to QuiltCon and I didn't. I've been asked to teach next year or to submit, so maybe I'll see you there next year, Beth. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you this year in Reno because I wasn't there last year. So I do have a table runner class, and let me go down the list here. The table that we're doing is called Off the Rail Table Runner, and it is going to be on Saturday from 12:30 to 3:30. So if you only get to come on the weekend, then you'll certainly want to go take that class because it is quick and easy to go together, learn a lot of techniques that can be applied to others. And of course, this is just started, but we will hopefully finish it or get close to finishing. So binding techniques and quilting techniques in that class. Now, Beth, do you want me to go ahead and start at the top of my list?
Sure, I think that's perfect. If you girls have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, while you're watching this, if you have any questions, just type them in and I'll ask Linda the questions. It's thoroughly interactive. So anything you have a question on, if you see something behind her that has intrigued you, just type it in and she can do a show and tell, even if she wasn't planning on it.
Oh, you think I know how to do that?
Yep, I know. You're one of the best at improvising. It's our old, it's my old soul skills. We can improvise anytime.
Okay, absolutely. Well, last week I watched because I wanted to see what the other teachers were doing. And Connie Spurlock was on, and she was showing something that she does with the 10-degree ruler. And I used the 10-degree ruler and I actually made a vest from it. So the strips were sewn together on the serger this time. And so it looks like a tiny corded piping, but it's not. And then rather than making that little squiggly table runner that she does, I flip-flop the pieces to get the look for this vest. So it does use the 10-degree wedge, the same one that Connie Spurlock uses, but an entirely different look. I will probably bring this and show it to Connie, and maybe those of you who are in her class can take a closer look at it. I'll also have it in my classroom. One thing I wanted to mention that I'm really, really excited about is Bernina is supplying the machines for my classroom. Now, what that means for you who are taking my classes, or you're taking any classes that happen to be in the same room that I'm in, Bernina machines will be there. The feet and everything that you need for the machine is there. They will have a place that you can park your machine, that you don't have to worry about the safety of your machine or anything, but you will not need to bring the machine and the feet for my classes. So I'm extremely excited about that. And we're just going to have a lot of fun playing with the different techniques that I want to show. I'm going to start at the top of my list because I put this in an organization. I think it isn't organized. And let you know the classes that I'll be teaching. I actually have 10 classes that I'll be teaching starting on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So while they're setting up the show, the quilt show, and some of the vendors are getting all set up, the classrooms will be available for classes. So make sure you plan to come on Tuesday all the way through Saturday, because we're going to have enough stuff to keep you busy those whole days. And if you're staying at the hotel, all you have to do is go downstairs, go to class, and then work your way upstairs at the end of the night, and then just roll down the elevator in the morning and start another class. It's really convenient and easy to do at that place. You may not see the light of day before Saturday, but that's up to you. My first class on Tuesday from 5 to 8 is called "Oh, What a Tangle Web We Weave When We Stitch." And I adore working with lots of different types of threads. I have big threads, which are too big to go on a needle, so I have a way that I use them. There are threads that I use in the needle in a different sort of format. I play with the buttons on the machine to get all sorts of different looks. And so that's what this class is about. Over here on this section of the garment, there are sequins, there are fuzzy threads, yarns, all sorts of types of threads and fibers that you can use on your sewing machine. Of course, sometimes it's easier to do them with specialty feet. So you're going to learn how to do that type of thing. So there's some threads there. There's a little bit of thread work on this one in between the piecing. Just to give a little spark to what you're doing. Here's another. This is the leftovers of one of my Fairfield garments, which was a special show that was in Houston. And also double needle work. We'll be working with the double needle, so you'll learn how to do that. This is with the feather stitch. There's couching in the center. So we're just going to be playing on the machine, not necessarily a real project, but learning how to adjust the machine for different types of stitches. And you really don't have to have hundreds and hundreds of stitches. It's the way we manipulate the stitch or change the width and length to give it a different look that helps us attach some of these heavier threads. That's hooked together. There we go. So here's the beginning of another project, and you can see the different textures that I'm working with here. So that class is called Oh, What a Tangle Web We Weave When We Stitch. It's Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. Now, on Wednesday morning, I'll be doing a class called Zip to Shape. It's a drawstring bag. So, as you see, a drawstring bag. There's a little panel along here that we're going to use some designs that I've created using my photography and the Kaleidoscope program. The way this bag goes together is when you unzip the bottom, it goes flat. So the zipper is used to create the shape of the bag. It's really cool technique. It looks more difficult than it is. You're working with straight pieces, and they're really fun areas that you can embellish. You could use a leftover piece block for the bottom. We're not going to make one this size, but the pattern is multi-size, so you can always go larger. The zipper at the top is for a trim. The zipper down at the bottom is what's holding the shape of the bag. And one thing that's really cool I've been doing with a lot of my patterns is secret pockets. So when you're working with a secret pocket, where is it on this bag? I have unzipped the bottom, and right here's where the secret pocket is. So when you zip it up, nobody's going to be able to get into there. They don't even know it's there. That's where you keep your mad money, extra key to the house, your room key, little things that you have a tendency to lose. I like to get close to the camera for you to see things, but then I cut off my head, so you're supposed to be looking at the stuff rather than me now. Okay, the next class is the smartphone wallet, and my very best wallet was sent to a trunk show, and I wasn't thinking about this for today. So we are going to be doing a little bit of embellishing. So you get a touch of thread work, not as much as in the other class, but this bag has 2 zipper pockets, and we're using RFID in the inside, and that's a cloth that prevents somebody from being able to steal the numbers off your credit cards and ID. I don't know how that works. I just know people that know how to do it can do it. And it's a fabric that has, it's held together with a nylon thread, but it has copper and nickel in it to create the fiber. It needs to be in the area where your credit cards are, not in your whole bag. So here's a couple of the cell phone wallets. It can turn into a wristlet, or you can use it to just hook inside a big tote, or to hook on your belt loop on your pants, just so your hands free if you want to be. So that is the smartphone wallet, which is Wednesday from 12 to 4. So a little bit of thread work, learn how to do a new zipper, and put the ends together with binding. On Thursday morning from 8 o'clock until noon, we will be working on my latest project, which is the half moon bag. Now, I've taught this class solely on the serger, but we're going to be using a sewing machine. I'm hoping I might be able to bum a couple of sergers, and we could do a couple of serger techniques too. I think it'll probably work out if I talk to them right. But we're using a single piece of zipper to put this together. So there is one zipper piece that starts on one side, goes all the way around the circle and ends over there. We put the slider on, and then you zip it up so that you don't have to deal with the uglies, unfinished, uneven edge on the other side. It's nice and smooth. So this is one that was done this was done solely on the serger. This is the cover stitch with both sides being on the top. You decide, do you like the crisscross of what would be a bobbin, or do you like the 2 rows of stitching like a double needle? So that's what a cover stitch machine is all about. Again, we're not using the cover stitch machine. That sample is just made that way. We're going to make one on the sewing machine. So we will do a little bit of stitching to hold those layers together, and then put the zipper on to complete our half moon bag. Now, somebody said, why would you do that? A smaller size of this would be a great travel piece for your office with your mouse, and use it as a mouse pad. My thought process was to use it for cosmetics, and you open it up and you have a clean surface to put your stuff. And but you can't have too many bags. Every girl needs to have tons and tons of bags. I mean, that's just my thought process. Now, the half moon class is on Thursday from 8 until noon. Then on Thursday at 1 o'clock, from 1 until 5, the handy ironing pad tote. Now, I sent this sample on that trip too. So we're going to look at another one that's made with the same pattern. This one's a little bit larger than the one we're going to make. We're going to make the lunch size, which is a good size to hold an iron. And the inside is going to have the stuff that you use from ironing. We're working with Bo Nash, and they have that silver stuff that's used for an iron, so that it doesn't get too hot, and it reflects the heat when you're pressing. There is a zipper going around this edge, and if you will unzip the zipper, the piece goes flat. So this will be your pressing surface. And there's batting in it, so I'm not worried about the zippers on the other side. The zippers on the other side are what allows the shape of the bag. So you have a handy tote for your iron plus an ironing surface. So it's all nice and neat to travel to wherever you're going for your retreating classes. This piece was originally designed as a festival bag, so you could put your wine and cheese in it and go find your sunny spot and open it up, and you have a clean surface. Or then when you're ready to go, put everything in the center, zip it up, and you're ready to leave. So it has been used as a diaper bag, for a diaper changing, a little toy bag. So there's all sorts of uses before what I started off, but that's the way I do things. I start off with one idea and then it goes on into other tangents. It's a great place to do a little bit extra embellishment on a pocket if you want to use a leftover embroidery or something of that nature. So that bag is called the Handy Ironing Pad Tote, and it is Thursday from 1 to 5. On Friday at noon, from noon until 1:30, I'm giving a lecture on zippers. It's called Give It a Zip. And there are way more zippers available to us than people really realize. I've had people say, oh, they're so hard. They really aren't. You just need to know the tips and how to deal with them. You can now purchase zipper by the yard. So this zipper has to be closed in on both ends. You cannot make it into a separating zipper. There, you will put the sliders on your project, but the 3-yard pieces that I have a little bit of tape on the end, and the tape allows you to put the slider on very easy and quickly. So there's zipper by the yard. There are zippers that have pulls that face each other. So it's great for certain types of bags, or you can cut this and make it into 2 zippers if you prefer. This is a 4.5 zipper, which is a zipper. It's the size, it's the width of the zipper coil in this instance. I have a tendency to use zipper coils, plastic zippers, or rhinestones. You cannot get too gaudy for Mardi Gras, and Mardi Gras season's happening right now. So I love the rhinestone zippers. You got to be glittery and colorful. You're going to learn how to take a zipper apart and put it back together. You can even make your own style zipper where the sliders go in like this if you want to. Just a little quick version to see how easy it is. This zipper has the separating part on it. It's just one I picked up that has the separating part for a jacket or a coat. So what I've done is unzip the zipper, and this is the side with the box. I'm going to slip the slider back onto the box, and then put the pin in the other end, the insertion pin, and I can zip it up. Now, if all I have is a cut edge, it looks like I got a little extra thread there. Let me just trim that off. I'm going to keep the zippers even and take the slider. The flat part is the bottom. The more rounded edge is the top. I'm going to move forward, and you're going to have to look at it backwards because I can't do this backwards. Put the slider on one side, hold it, put the slider in the other side, and give it a little, whoops, I'm going to be uneven. Melinda. There we go. So I got it put together, but I'm off on the end, so I have a bubble here. So I just need to take it apart and do it again. I used to get upset with that, but ain't no big deal. You just, determination. Who's the boss? Here we go. So now we have it even, so I can make my own zipper with the sliders coming into the center if that's the way I need it. A couple of the other new zippers, well, I've had the tiger tape. So there's zippers with a pretty tape. So you would put them in differently than you would just a plain tape because you pay good money for this tape. You want it to be seen. But my newest one are these. And they're plastic. I have them in gold in silver and carnival glass. But look what you can do. And these are separating zippers. I'm going to take the black one and the black one and the white one, and they both, there's, well, one of these is gold and one of them silver. That'll work. Unzip them and then zip them back together so that I can create a gold and silver zipper. You know, a lot of times I've run into ladies that have to do only gold and ones that only do silver. But if you can't make up your mind which one you want, then use each color and you're set to go. You can mix a gold and silver with the black tape, with the white tape, or with the black and white tape. So you can have all sorts of fun creating a garment, the front of a garment, or using it on bags with zippers. Now you're going to learn lots and lots of different zipper techniques to just take away that shyness of working with the zipper. That is Give It a Zip on Friday from noon until 1:30. It is a lecture, but I do have some audience participation with part of it, so you'll see how easy it is to really play with zippers. Friday night is the mystery class. And for 10 years, I've done a mystery class on Friday night. I wasn't there at the show last year, so it didn't happen. But we've done bags for zippers. We've done jewelry, just all sorts of interesting things with zippers. I will tell you this year, we are going to do a zipper. It is not going to be a bag, but it is going to be a great project. And we will have a couple of odds and ends, little things that we're going to do along with it, because our design is pretty quick. And so we just need to have time to do some other things. But that's going to be the Friday night mystery class. Nobody knows. Beth doesn't know. Nobody knows what's happening in that class, so except me. That means I can change my mind between now and then if I want to, but I'm pretty well set what we're going to do because I'm getting ready to cut the kits for it. So Friday night mystery, 6 to 9 in the Bernina room. Okay. I do all sorts of techniques. And there are feet for your machine. It doesn't matter what machine you have. There are feet available to make the task easier. If there's a foot for the technique that you're doing, it is well worth the investment. Now, I'll tell you, there's some feet that do things that I don't like to do, so I'm not going to be touting those. But the feet that I use all the time. I use them for thread work, for corded piping, for piecing. This is corded piping in what can become a pot holder, or it could even be a rotary cutter holder, sunglass holder. I've used piping around the edge of quilts just because it gives it a nice little pizzazz, and we'll put this right side up so you can see it better. There's corded piping in bags. So I use corded piping a lot. So there are feet that will make your corded piping a lot easier. This is just a handful that I grabbed from my by my machine. I have several machines, so I have feet from all machines. I'm going to be talking generically about the feet. I have a wonderful handout. I call it my top 10 favorite feet, but there are some feet that have different sizes. And so I use, I group the sizes together into one. So I'll be talking about a wide range of feet. So it is well worth learning what's available for your machine, because you can look good on black fabric at midnight if you've got the right equipment. And the right equipment is the name of the game, because It just makes your life so much easier, and it's a little bit more fun to sew. So, that is Enhance Your Craft with Proper Sewing Machine Feet. It's Saturday from 10 to 11:30. That is a lecture. And we're predominantly talking about domestic sewing machine feet. Now, in the afternoon, from 12:30 to 3:30, I will be doing the off the rail table runner. That's the one that we took a look at to begin with. We're going to be working with strips rather than little pieces, and we'll create a quilt. And I can't remember whether I told you to bring fabric or I'm making kits. I'll have to look at what I wrote. You know, you write this stuff in October, and who knows by January, well, it's almost March, what you said back then. But we're going to create a table runner using strips of fabric and line them up creatively. You know that you'll notice that I use strips that are different widths. That's just something I like to do. I hate to have to be so exact. So if it's obviously off, then it's part of the design. So we will be doing the off the rail table runner on Saturday from 12:30 to 3:30. Now, be aware that the show does have a venue it's a stage that teachers and vendors will be having 45-minute stage presentations of different techniques or projects that you can do. So I am doing one. They haven't publicized the dates. I'm thinking it's on Saturday. And it might be when the show starts on Saturday. I'm not sure because I couldn't find it on the web. It said it'll be there in April. But I do know that what I'm going to teach is quick projects that you can do in under an hour. So just to give you an idea, this is a little fabric box. I've put a zipper in it. Real easy to put together with your serger or your sewing machine. The zipper is the one-piece zipper, so you don't have an ugly on the other side. And what can you do with these little boxes? You can use them to hold all sorts of stuff. This just happens to have some of my cord managers in it, eyeglass holders there. And take note, this zipper was from the fly front on a pair of jeans. And I was able to get this size box from it. I guess with an enormous size pair of jeans, you could get that. I wanted it to be a pocket, but this is just there. And I took advantage of it. So you can upcycle, such as this one. Here's another little upcycle, a pair of jeans. Notice that there's different colorations of the jeans from different parts of where it was on the pants. I did allow the pockets to be used exactly as they were on the pants, so I did not have to stitch that in place. My brother spent a lot of time getting the trim finished on the edge of this pocket for me. And the pocket from the back pocket is the same way. I ripped strips of denim to go on the strap. So you can enhance with quick, easy ways. And these are press-on appliques that I found someplace along the line. I've been doing a lot of stuff with circles. This was serged around the edge, and there's some scoring stitches on it. And I've added snaps to each of the corners so that I can create a little bowl to put some of the stuff by my sewing machine. I could use it for travel and jewelry and things like that. You can even use candy wrappers to create little bags. This is plastic. It's the same. It's M&M plastic bag, like I purchased it at the store, but I've added fabric to the underneath side, added a zipper to it. The zipper's in that position because that's where it was on the package, and I wanted the M&Ms to be perfectly even on that side. Here's another quick project using a leg of a pair of pants. So this literally can be done in about 15 minutes because you just have a bottom seam and to sew the button on. Another quick project designed by one of my little 10-year-old friends. It will hold your basic necessities. There's 2 zippers, a real easy zipper instructions, and you can put one of these together in less than an hour, but if you decided to embellish, you could, it would take you a little bit longer. So you decide your time element and go from there. Now, I didn't show this bag, and it was supposed to be, I guess, in the thread embellishment. So this is organza, and it's 2 layers of organza with stuff sandwiched in between, and then thread work on top of it to make a very elegant evening type bag. So there's all sorts of ways to play with your sewing machine in my classes. I hope you'll come join me, or at least come visit with me at the show. I'm looking forward to being back at Reno in June, and look forward to seeing you there. So, Beth, I'm going to let you take it away. She took it away, didn't she?
And wait. Okay, so we have a few questions for you. I didn't want to interrupt you because you were on a roll. Okay, so if they saw things, patterns, and different items that you showed today, do you have? Of course, you have a website, but do you want to give that to them? Because Victor would like to order some things, and it looks like Sharon might also.
Okay, you can go on the website in order if you want to at ghees.com there, and go to the shop category, and then you'll see pattern. They're listed as patterns or zippers, or I haven't quite, because the white zippers just came in. I don't have them on the website quite yet, but they're hopefully they'll be on before the end of the week. I am starting to travel at the end of this week, and I may not be around to fulfill the orders as quickly as I normally do, but I'll get back with you. I'll try to stay up with things on email and let you know. But I am in town up until Saturday of this week, and if you have a question on something, I'll get back with you pretty quick like.
Okay, perfect. And do you guys have any other questions for Linda? I know, Linda,
I'll have product at the show too.
Perfect.
Of course.
Well, a lot of them, like poor Victor, he's in Canada, so he probably is not going to make the show. So it's easy. They can just go to your website and order things if they're not going to be here, or if they want to start before June.
There is a basic price for shipping on the website, but we can either talk or text back and forth to get it to get them taken care of, so they don't have to piecemeal the order.
Perfect.
Because they're proud of their postage.
Right. And then so one of the things that I saw at QuiltCon was a lot of people who've never sewn before, and a lot of people who had no idea about threads. And I'm a big firm believer in learning about threads, because they can do so many different things.
There's all-purpose thread, which is some of your basic thread, and that there's some of it could be cotton, some of it might be poly. What I use for putting something together is different than what was used here. Coates and Clark sent me a bunch of crochet thread and said, what can you do with this besides crochet? And so this is what I did for them. And it's just crochet thread. They're in it. This is cotton. I have a tendency to use glittery thread. I adore Glamour that's made by Wonderfill. It's a heavier thread, or Candlelight by YLI. It's heavier. It's too heavy to go in the needle, but you can use it as bobbin work, or you can use it in the upper and lower looper on the serger. So in the thread class, we're going to be covering a lot of techniques like that and experimenting with a lot of different kinds of thread. And yarn, like you knit a sweater with, there's some with eyelashes and fuzzies, and then there's some that's kind of smooth, or there's some that has lumps and bumps in it. And you can use that on your sewing machine. Obviously, it's not going to go in the needle, but there are ways to use it on the machine to embellish. And so those are things that we'll be covering there. And I'm assuming that Fabric Chicks will have some threads in their booth, huh?
And we always have threads in our booth. Yes.
So Beth, we need to talk to Linda before the show.
Right. Right. No, I love threads. And I think that I think threads are one of the products in our sewing world that is most underlooked, overlooked, I guess. Most people just think thread is for piecing and 50 weight is good. And, you can get those wooden spools from the thrift stores and just piece with those. And I mean, you get such a good deal, I literally.
It's a little bit more important to that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more important than that. But and I haven't. Those threads are good for making some kind of craft items.
I had a whole conversation about that at QuiltCon. Because somebody said that she collected.
You had a booth?
We just went as consumers just to see what it was like to walk a show and not have a booth and not worry about teaching. And we just went for fun, my son and I. But I was
going to fly over there in the morning, which I could get a flight and be there by 10, but I could not get home that night and I had an obligation. But I was willing to do that to myself, but I would have to leave at 4 p.m. to get home, and for 2 hours.
That's insane.
I could have done that, but
that's insane.
Yeah,
we drove.
We drove.
Because we went through Death Valley and we just had a good time. It was kind of like a vacation.
That was good mother-son time.
Yes.
Good.
When I say we drove, I mean he drove and I slept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what I found is that we did 2 make and takes. So it was very bizarre that the manufacturers were there, that they had big booths and they were doing make and takes.
Mm-hmm.
And
you talking about thread manufacturers?
No, Wonderful was that. Yeah, Wonderful and Northfield were there, but like Cotton and Steel and Art Gallery Fabrics, they were all doing make and takes. And literally, so Devin, he's 21. The girls loved him. He fit right in. He was eye candy for everybody there. But it was interesting how everybody that we sat next to and talked to had no idea that there were different weights of threads. And one gal did say she collects them from the thrift stores. And my comment was, that's what you hot glue onto like a wreath. You do not use it. You're spending so much time and money on fabric and everything. So I'm really excited that you're doing a whole lecture and class on threads, because we all need to be educated.
I submitted to QuiltCon a class on just threads, using different kinds of threads. So maybe that class will go. I don't know. I submitted a bunch for Raleigh next year.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll. And I went to the very first QuiltCon, which was in Austin, Texas, because I didn't understand. This is like 10 years ago, when the very first one. And I didn't understand what it was about. I just wanted to go and see. And in looking at the quilts, I felt that the people were novice sewers, didn't want to follow the rules. And I don't follow the rules a lot, but there's basic information you need to learn so that your machine will run properly, so you can use your machine to the best advantage and do all these little bells and tricks and things. There's just certain information you need to know. Right. But since they started doing it without having that information, they're going to I hope they get to a point where their brain will want to absorb more information about a good way to do something, but it's okay to shift a little bit.
Right.
I mean, you get different textures by making mistakes, or like holding the thread too tight and it wrinkles up. Right. But maybe that's what's good for that project. I mean, I intentionally wanted this fabric. You can't see it. You can't see it as much. But this, I intentionally wrinkled because I wanted the wrinkled look.
Right.
So I did not use stabilizer. But if you wanted the fabric to be flat underneath here, you would need to use something underneath, some type of stabilizer to keep the integrity of the stitch. So it just depends what you're looking for.
You have to learn, you have to know what your options are and what the products do. You have to have a basic foundation. You have to have the basic knowledge, and then you're able to kind of wheel off and do different things and experiment more. But if you don't know how to thread your machine,
correct,
right? One of the gals that sat down in between Devin and I, a girl scooted in, and she had actually never sewn before in her life. She just came because her girlfriend told her she needed to. And she was probably like 22. So it was really fun. I mean, I did kind of tease her about being a virgin, but it was really fun to see people who really wanted to learn. But I guess that's our responsibility. Being in the industry for so long, it's our responsibility to somehow find a platform out there to teach them. I'm not sure how or where, but
home ec in school when I went to school, and it was a have-to class, and it was one that most people didn't want to take because or they took it because it was an easy A. But no, somebody's got to learn to sew, otherwise they're not going to be clothes out on the market.
Right.
Yeah, there's reason. Somebody said sew instead. Well, no, it's not. Somebody's making clothes out there, but we're not doing the basic clothes that we did way back when I was in grade school, and just the basics, the A-line skirts and put a zip in and that type of thing. We're doing more elaborate, more fun type clothes. Sure, you can buy clothes for less nowadays, or you can spend a ton of money on them. But I want to do things that are different, that aren't like everybody has.
Right.
I mean, the T-shirts bought, but I made the vest.
Right. Or you buy something and you want to embellish it.
Yeah. It's okay to upscale things. That's fine.
Right.
We're not in a have-to industry anymore. We're in an industry that people want us, because it's their leisure activity.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people that spend their lives just playing around the sewing machine. That's their entertainment. That's their life. And I love it. I don't want to be totally my life, but I do enjoy sewing and the creativity. The little girl 2 doors down who's 7 years old got a sewing machine for Christmas. And so I've been teaching her some things.
Oh, I love it.
She's been having fun with it.
Yes.
One of the fabric manufacturers gave me some fabric to give to my little friends. So I gave some. They're 2 sisters. One of them likes to sew, the other one doesn't. So the sister that likes to sew made her sister a dress, and they sent me a picture of it. And she just did her own thing. They don't want to have a pattern. They can do it with that. And that's fine. But at some point, I do hope they'll listen to a little bit of information that'll make their sewing easier. And
otherwise they'll be frustrated.
A little bit more professional.
Right.
But and professional doesn't mean that the lines have to be straight. They could be crooked too.
Yeah.
I mean, compare the sewing machine needle to art.
Yeah.
When you look at oil paintings up close, it looks like a blob of paint. But you look at it from a distance and you can see the design. So you don't necessarily need to look up close and look at every single stitch. Sometimes the stitches it's okay for them to be crooked. So anyway, it's just more fun. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just kind of enjoy the ride. That's what I like to do. Of course, there are days when I need to find something else to do when the machine's not acting right, or I'm not acting right, or whatever. But
for sure,
most of the days I can get it to work for myself.
Right. Okay, girls, do you have any other questions for Linda? Otherwise, you can go to Quilt Show Reno and sign up for classes and lectures. I love that you're doing lectures, because sometimes at a show, it's kind of overwhelming and you just want to sit down and relax and learn some good information. So lectures, I think, are a great addition to your schedule at the show. So make sure you get those kind of scheduled into your day. All right. I think that's it. All right. Thank you so much, Linda, for joining us. We will see you soon.
It was great to see you again. I look forward to June. Save a glass of wine for me.
or a bottle. All right. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next Monday at 3 o'clock. Have a great night.